Ever wonder how a top draft pick can flop so hard? Or how a player can end up with more fouls than points? Today, we're counting down the dumbest players in NBA history. These players made headlines for all the wrong reasons: poor decisions, lackluster performances, and mind-boggling mistakes. Let's dive into these epic fails and baffling careers. Number 10, Brian Cardinal. Brian Cardinal, known as the Custodian, epitomized the hard-working, scrappy player every coach loves. Despite his effort, he was often the least skilled player on the court. Cardinal built a lengthy career by embracing his role as a gritty, blue-collar player. His nickname reflected his non-glamorous style of play. Cardinal never averaged double-digit points in any of his 12 NBA seasons, with his peak being a modest 9.6 points per game in 2003, 0-4 with the Golden State Warriors. Beyond his hustle, he's perhaps best remembered for landing a 6-year, $34.5 million contract with the Memphis Grizzlies. Amazingly, his minutes and production were slashed soon after. Cardinal's work ethic was undeniable, but his on-court intelligence often left fans scratching their heads. Despite a long career, his frequent blunders and modest stats earned him a spot on this list. Number 9, Anthony Bennett. Anthony Bennett, the only number 1 overall pick on this list, exemplifies a player who thrived in college but flopped in the NBA. Dominating amateur competition with his physicality, he couldn't keep up when faced with equally strong players with superior skills. Picked first by the Cleveland Cavaliers, Bennett quickly fell out of the rotation. He was traded to the Minnesota Timberwolves in the Kevin Love deal, but failed to make an impact there. His NBA career was a series of disappointments, and he eventually ended up playing in Canadian pro basketball leagues. Poor performances and baffling decisions marked Bennett's time in the NBA. He often seemed lost on the court, making rookie mistakes like missing wide-open shots and committing unnecessary fouls. His brief, tumultuous NBA stint makes him one of the dumbest high picks in history. Number 8, Mark Madsen. Mark Mad Dog. Madsen deserves some credit. He turned his limited basketball skills into a 9-year NBA career, even winning titles with the Los Angeles Lakers in his first 2 seasons. However, Madsen's stats were underwhelming. He never averaged 4 points or rebounds per game, despite playing in over 450 games and starting 70 of them. He also appeared in 49 playoff games, but still didn't make a significant impact. Most fans remember Madsen for his awkward moments during the Lakers' victory parades in the Shaq and Kobe era. The standout memory? His cringeworthy dance moves to Shaquille O'Neal's rap at the 2001 rally. Off the court, Madsen once hilariously confused a shot clock violation for a personal foul, arguing with the referee until they both laughed. And let's not forget his infamous airballed free throws. Madsen might have had the hustle, but his basketball IQ was often questionable. Before we continue, if you're enjoying this video, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more fascinating NBA stories and analyses. Hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. Now, let's get back to our countdown. Number 7, Kyle Singler. Kyle Singler had an impressive college career at Duke, starting for 4 years and leading them to the 2010 NCAA championship, where he was named Most Outstanding Player of the Final Four. But his game didn't translate well to the NBA. Despite his college success, he was only picked 33rd in the 2011 NBA draft by the Pistons and was initially sent to play in Spain. Singler started 150 games for the Pistons from 2012 to 2015. Then, the Oklahoma City Thunder inexplicably signed him to a 4-year deal, even though his highest scoring average was 9.6 points per game, and his defense was notoriously slow. Eventually, he fell out of favor, not even making it into garbage time lineups, and was waived by the Thunder. Singler's lackluster NBA career and frequent missteps earned him a spot in numerous White Mamba memes, replacing Brian Scalabrine as the league's lovable benchwarmer. Number 6, Pete Chilcutt. Pete Chilcutt, known for his clutch shooting at UNC under Dean Smith, had a forgettable 9-year NBA career. Despite his college success, Chilcutt's lack of athleticism was a glaring issue in the pros. His best season saw him average just 21 minutes per game with the Sacramento Kings in 1993-94. Chilcutt played for 7 NBA teams and even snagged a title with the 1995 Houston Rockets, but his impact was minimal. The slim power forward never averaged more than 6.1 points per game. His shooting was his lone NBA skill, ending with a respectable 38.1% from beyond the arc. Yet, Chilcutt's decision-making on the court often left fans puzzled. His inability to adapt his game and frequent mistakes made him a bench warmer on most teams. Despite his shooting, his overall basketball IQ seemed questionable, solidifying his spot on this list. Number 5. RAFAEL ARAUJO. RAFAEL ARAUJO's name triggers frustration among Raptors fans, especially since he was picked just before Andre Iguodala, a future NBA Finals MVP and Olympic gold medalist. Drafted 8th overall in 2004 by the unpopular GM Rob Babcock, ARAUJO was touted as a strong interior player. However, he quickly seemed out of his depth, lacking the speed, strength, and athleticism needed for the NBA. The Brazilian center played only 139 regular season games before being traded to the Utah Jazz after 2 disappointing seasons in Toronto. Standing 6'11", ARAUJO never found his footing in the league, struggling during the low-scoring, defense-focused mid-2000s. His frequent missteps and lackluster performances made him a memorable draft bust. Number 4. Michael Ruffin. Michael Ruffin, an undersized power forward center, lacked the skills to be a swingman and the size to dominate in his natural position. Despite this, he managed to stick around in the NBA for 10 seasons, mostly with teams that didn't make it past the first round of the playoffs. Drafted 32nd overall by the Bulls in 1999, Ruffin's career was marked by underwhelming stats. His career highs were just 2.6 points per game and 5.8 rebounds per game, achieved in his second season. Remarkably, Ruffin has the dubious honor of being one of the few players who racked up more fouls than points, with 946 fouls compared to just 716 points over his decade-long career. Ruffin's on-court decisions often left fans scratching their heads. He consistently made rookie mistakes, like unnecessary fouls and missed easy shots. Despite his hustle, his lack of skill and poor basketball IQ made him a classic example of an unsuccessful journeyman in the NBA. Number 3. NIKOLOZ CHILCUT. While Darko Milicic is the more famous bust from the 2003 NBA draft, the trend of overhyped European big men failing in the NBA began earlier with NIKOLOZ CHILCUT. The Denver Nuggets used their number 5 overall pick on the Georgian player, despite their front office barely seeing him play. Chilcutt's stats in Europe were unimpressive. He averaged just 6.6 points and 1.8 rebounds per game in 11 games with BENNETT and Treviso. The Nuggets' gamble didn't pay off. Chilcutt played for 4 NBA teams in 4 seasons before returning to Europe, never finding his footing in the league. Bill Simmons once called Chilcutt the worst-case scenario for any foreign pick, and it's hard to disagree. His cluelessness on the court was evident, and he often made poor decisions and looked lost against NBA competition. Despite his height and potential, Chilcutt's lack of basketball IQ and poor performance cemented his place as one of the dumbest draft picks in the history of the NBA. Number 2. Son Heung. In search of the next Lamar Odom, the Lakers decided to use a second-round pick on Son Heung, a Chinese player with experience in the Chinese Basketball Association from the age of 17. They hoped his early exposure to pro basketball would help him adjust to the NBA. After a somewhat promising D-League stint, the Lakers brought Heung up to see what he could contribute. It didn't take long to realize their mistake. In his debut, he managed 4 fouls and 2 turnovers in just 5 minutes. Over 10 games, Heung amassed more fouls, 10, than points, 6, and had as many turnovers, 3, as assists and steals combined. Heung's time in the NBA was a series of baffling plays and poor decisions, quickly showing he was out of depth. The Lakers soon recognized that Heung simply wasn't cut out for the NBA, making him one of their most regrettable picks. Number 1. Javaris Crittenton. Pick 1 was the infamous threat Javaris Crittenton allegedly heard from teammate Gilbert Arenas in the Washington Wizards locker room. This shocking incident involving guns violated every NBA player's code and marked the abrupt end of Crittenton's unremarkable career. He was drafted in the first round in 2007 and played for 3 teams in just 2 seasons before this scandal. During his brief time in the NBA, Crittenton never averaged more than 6 points or 2.5 assists per game. His poor performance and questionable decisions off the court made him a liability. After the locker room incident, the Wizards' management wisely distanced their young star, John Wall, from Crittenton's negative influence. Crittenton's downfall continued as he pleaded guilty to manslaughter and received a 23-year prison sentence, later reduced to 10 years with good behavior. He was released from Wilcox State Prison in April 2023, marking the end of a troubled chapter. Crittenton's poor choices and lack of judgment on and off the court solidify his spot as one of the NBA's dumbest players. What are your thoughts on our list? Did we miss anyone? Share your opinions in the comments below. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more intriguing NBA content. Thanks for watching.